All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Cage. I'm your host, Eddie Mafia. Hope we are all doing well out there. Hope we had a good Halloween. I think it's been a while. It was before Halloween was the last time I was on here. Last time you guys saw a video. So hope everyone had a nice Halloween, and now we're enjoying the Thanksgiving season. Looking forward to Turkey Day and all those other fun holidays that are coming up in the near future. So hope everyone's doing well out there in this fall season. So a lot that transpired recently, both within boxing and within the UFC. But today I'm actually going to be talking about UFC 244. Went down Saturday, November 2nd from Madison Square Garden in New York City. Big event. Lots of big names were there, not only within the octagon, also, outside of it. The president was in attendance, as well as Dwayne Johnson was there. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But headliner was welterweight matchup between Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, welterweight matchup. And it was funny. I actually watched the fight, didn't buy it, didn't watch it on ESPN. We actually streamed it online, me and my friends. I don't know if I should say that. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. But, we were able to watch it in a way, one way or another. But really interesting in this fight going into it. I was rooting for Diaz. I just like him better, I think. I just think he has a better, I don't know, I've been following him for a really long time, since I was a little kid, or younger, I should say, and I'm just a fan of his, and I was really pulling for him in this fight. Unfortunately, after the third round, the fight was stopped due to a large cut, big gash that was administered by Jorge Masvidal to Diaz throughout the fight, but just going to break it down a little bit for you guys. Mazvidal completely dominated this one. It was really no contest. He won all three rounds, I would say, in my opinion, and he just was really dominant the whole time with striking, takedown, defense, everything. Just because Diaz tried to shoot a couple times. So I'll just run through the stats for you guys real quick. So Masvidal had 2 knockdowns. Diaz had none. Basically, Masvidal landed 114 of 184 strikes, and then 125 out of 194 for Diaz. So basically, Diaz did have the little edge him out a little bit in terms of the number of strikes landed or percentage. For Masvidal was 62, Diaz 64. Significant strikes, however, this is where it gets a little bit different. Masvidal landed 112 of 179 significant strikes for 62.6%, whereas Diaz landed 43 of 104, being only 41.4%. Obviously, a big difference in that one, and that's the one at the end of the day that really adds up on the scorecards anyway, regardless of the fact that the fight was stopped prior to the 5th round. Takedowns, Masvidal was 1 for 1. And like I said before, Diaz was 0 for 2. No submission attempts by either of these men. But yeah, so basically, there's really nothing else to say about it. I mean, at the end of the day, Masvidal was pretty dominant the whole time. And he was able to walk away with the victory and the new BMF belt. This is another very interesting aspect of this fight, because it was a non-title fight, but still 2 big names within the fight game. So Dana White kind of wanted to make it its own little spectacle, I guess, and introduce this new belt, the BMF belt, the baddest mother blank belt, and it was actually administered by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who was in attendance. So that was a pretty cool aspect of it as well. Obviously, a lot of high stakes around that. This was the first time this has ever been done. The first time Dwayne Johnson has ever delivered a belt like this. But it was really cool. It's big, it's dark, it's ominous, it's not really shiny it's shiny, but it's not like gold and bright like the other championship belts. When speaking about it, Dana White kind of said, we wanted to make this its own kind of event. We wanted to make it a big deal. It was an idea he introduced to the team, and they thought that it was a good one and it would go over well, which I think it definitely did. But it's really cool. The belt, it actually, it took $50,000 to make it. There's black diamonds. Dana White's signature is on the back. It's heavier than the other belts. But it was just a pretty cool aspect to the fight. And And I think it went over well with the fans. So, I mean, even though Masvidal isn't quote-unquote the champion right now, he does have a lot of people talking, and he does have this BMF belt to his name right now. Going back to the performance of both of these gentlemen, Diaz not looking like himself. He's usually known for his conditioning and lasting into those later rounds, really performing well then. He did say later on that's what he was planning on doing, was really turning it up in the 4th and 5th round before the fight was stopped. However, Masvidal said that's not a good game plan. Who even does that? And, I mean, I got to agree. I think if you're going to go hard, just stick it out the whole time. But in this case, due to an injury, he said it prevented him from doing those hard conditioning cardio workouts in training camp leading up to the fight. That's sort of what prevented him from being able to perform well earlier in the rounds, which ultimately led to the downfall for him. But yeah, I mean, there was some respect. There was respect for both these guys, afterwards, but it kind of went away more recently, just with more trash talk coming by way of Diaz, as well as Nick, who Nate's older brother, who then chimed in on it. Basically making comments about how Masvidal said he was going to baptize his younger brother, meaning knock him out cold. Nick didn't take too well to that. So, there's potential both for a rematch between Nate and Mazvidal, as well as, there's talks for Nick coming in. However, Nick hasn't been in the fight game. He hasn't fought since 2015, so I don't know what it would take for him to get back in. But Mazvidal right now is solely fixed, I would say, on that check at the end of the day. He's growing his reputation in terms of being one of the best fighters in the division right now, and there's his name is now carrying a lot of weight, more so than it did in recent years in the past. But Masvidal said this, he said, "We don't know who's next, but everybody's looking like cash symbols, cash money to us right now. The next person is going to be the one that puts the most zeros in the bank account, whoever that is." So, take that as you will. He's really looking for those big bucks right now. He made a comment also about Conor McGregor, how he's trying to duck a fight with him, and there's just a lot of possibilities for this guy right now going into the future. However, he is a big name, and he is growing that reputation within the UFC. So that's pretty much the wrap up for the headliner of UFC 244. Lots of, like I said, areas around it, lots of fun things, and it was a dominating performance by Mazvidal at the end of the day. So hats off to him. Next episode, I hopefully am going to be having one of my friends on here, and we're going to be talking about the Logan Paul KSI fight, which actually took place this past Saturday at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. So we're going to be breaking that down a little bit more. So hopefully I'll have someone else in here with me for that. But until then, thank you guys again for tuning in, and we will see you next time. So for Inside the Cage, I'm Eddie Mafia, and we'll see you then.